Good afternoon, early evening, everyone. We call this meeting to order for the Brawley City Council successor agency to Brawley Community Redevelopment Agency, adjourned regular meeting for Tuesday, November 3rd, 2015 at 5 p.m.
This is it.
The minutes will reflect all council members present.
All right, that's our roll call. Our invocation by Pastor Mike Muchik of El Redentor Church. Pastor Muchik, if you come up, please.
Father, we come before you with grateful hearts for all your help that you've given us as a city council as well as citizens of this city in meeting some standards that the state has set for us concerning the water. But in spite of that, there's challenges that still face our city, face our citizens. And Lord, we need more than just human help. We need divine help and direction. And this evening, Lord, we place each and every one of our city council members into your hands in the decisions and the leaders that are here or not here, that you may lead us and direct us with your spirit and all the things that need to be done. For we ask and pray all these things in the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you, Pastor.
We can have our Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Noriega, would you lead us? We don't have a flag today, so we're going to face towards the Veterans Memorial.
Okay. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
There's a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is departmental reports. Item 5A, monthly staffing report. Excuse me, I skipped a page here, I'm sorry. Well, it's out of order.
That's a quick meeting, man.
Wow.
Next item on the agenda, is public appearances and comments, not to exceed 4 minutes. This is a time for the public to address the council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name for the record. You're not allowed to make personal attacks on individuals or make comments which are slanderous or which may invade an individual's personal privacy. Please direct your questions and comments to the city council. Is there someone here who would like to make a public comment? Please come up.
Good evening, members of the audience and city council. My name is Christian Nunez. I am the president of BHS Civics Club, Key Club, and ELEC. And in the past days, we were discussing about the water issues in California. And on Sunday's newspaper, we saw that cities like Beverly Hills and Indio were fined by a very, very high amount of money. And in the cities of the Imperial Valley, we read that Brawley is the only city in the Imperial Valley that met the standard of water consuming. We use the lowest amount of water possible that we could. So, and we were so happy to hear that because we were studying all of that in our civics class for the past 6 or 7 weeks of school. So we're really happy on that, and that's a public comment representing the BHS civics class from Mr. Flores.
Thank you very much for that
Thank
comment.
you.
We appreciate you coming down here.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to make a public comment? Mr. Zara?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, and staff. Jason Zara, Brawley Chamber of Commerce. I'll be brief, but as you know, it's that time of year again. In 2 weeks, when you see me next, I expect all my hair will have fallen out, but we will have completed candle call.
Well, the rest of it.
So, yeah, it's not too much further to go, I know.
So bad. Don't mind him, Jason.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right.
Well, yeah.
But I'm sure everyone's aware, but I just wanted to do a very quick run through on what we have going. Saturday will be the chili cook-off from 9 to 3. Sunday will be the Family Day and Farmers Market from 10 to 2. We have a lot of great family activities for that one. Monday will be our cattle call kickoff mixer at the Inferno. Tuesday is cowboy poetry at the Stockman's Club. Wednesday is the veteran service at the Memorial Wall, immediately followed by mariachi night. Of course, always a big draw and a lot of fun. Thursday is the Cowbell Cook-Off. I won't repeat Sam's comments about that because it'll get him in trouble.
No, you'd get in big trouble.
But I look forward to the Cowbell Cook-Off. And then Saturday morning is the parade, and Saturday and Sunday are the rodeos. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But I suspect everybody here probably knows the drill, and we look forward to seeing you all out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Of course.
I just want to say, well, maybe just a question, a comment, Jay, that everything's going okay, you guys are all in good shape, and we're ready to go?
Yeah.
No, well, I know it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work that goes into that, so, but everybody survived okay, right?
So far, so good. Everything appears to be on pace. Couple of little details we're figuring out that might have gotten overlooked, but we'll get them squared away in time, so we always do.
Good job, good job.
Thank you.
And let everybody know from the chamber, too, that we.
And also, I found out that the rodeo tickets are $10 for general, $14 for the cement seats, but if you get them now, if you get them during the rodeo, they're $17, so you might pass that on.
Very well. Well, Mr. Zarn, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you all.
the work that you do. Thank you.
Good job.
Is there anyone else who would like to make a public comment at this time? Seeing none, we're going to move on to 2A, introduction of planning technician Lisa Tylenda, by Gordon Gast, and he is not here, so he will be introduced by Shirley Bonias.
Honorable Mayor, Council Members, Shirley Bonias, Personnel and Risk Management Administrator. Of course, this is one of the greatest things I get to do in my position is to fill in for Gordon sometimes.
You know what? I'm going to show him the video.
Sure, yeah.
Ms. Tylenda is a graduate of UC Riverside with a bachelor's degree in Economic and Administrative Studies. She's been assisting the Planning Department as a temporary administrative secretary since August 2015. Lisa's passion is to live and serve the community she loves, the Imperial Valley. She states she found a home here with the city of Brawley and wants to support the mission of this fine city. May I introduce Ms. Lisa Tylenda.
Hi, I feel so excited and grateful for this opportunity, and I feel very blessed to be able to serve the citizens of Brawley, and I look forward to working here. I'm very excited. Thank you.
Very good.
Congratulations on behalf of the City Council and the City of Brawley.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard, dear.
Welcome.
Fantastic.
And we'll take care of Gordon when he gets back.
Yeah.
The next, that's true, and we're going to give him a copy of that
Copy
video.
of the video.
Next item on the agenda is consent agenda. Items are approved by one motion. Council members or members of the public may request consent items be considered separately at a time determined by the mayor. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? And I believe
So
there's,
moved.
excuse me, I believe there is one item that we need to add?
It is noted that the item listed as city council minutes for September 15th, those minutes have been amended. Copies are available here for the public and are up here on the dais as well. So it's requested that the council take action to approve the amended minutes. We did incorporate in a section of the minutes on bottom of 2, top of 3. We noted every letter of protest received and on the record with the city. We thought that was important to incorporate. And then we also laid out the description that was provided by both the consultant and our Public Works Director regarding the capital projects that were included in the study. So those are the primary changes from the version that's circulated in advance of today's meeting.
Very well, thank you. Councilmember Noriega, will you please amend your motion to include those minutes?
I'd like to amend my motion to include the minutes
Is there
that
a
have
sec-
been corrected.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, yeah, it's been seconded, and so just before, can we go into discussion? I just have one other question. Procedurally, do we have to pull? I have one question of a check register item.
Okay.
That just stood out to me. So if this is potentially the time to do it, it's on your very first page of the check register report under McNeese Brothers. It's just listed as seat cushion for $9,000. Is that in fact a seat cushion, or is that just potentially, or is that fuel?
It's the first item included in probably a series of items, but we'd be happy to provide
No, that's not, basically what the way the check register is written, it's a summary of all, It's consolidated, it outlines the checks that we issued, but that was the first item processed, or first invoice processed to McNeese, so it's a consolidated, it takes the first description
Okay.
of the items. The detail attached would show, which it's not by vendor, you would see in the detail by GL number, all the charges that were charged to McNeese. For example, on page 7, that's where you start seeing where it itemizes by, starting with the general fund, just the types of vendors. You'll see the first GL number, and then, what the chamber.
Expanded description.
Correct,
Yeah.
and so it would just be carved out. You would probably most like that. My assumption is it's in the back with the maintenance fund.
Okay, no problem. I was just going to check JJ's seat. And somebody was sitting there. Other than that, it's fine.
No, there's no hydraulic seats or extra memory foam or anything like that, I'm sure.
Layered in gem.
It's an ejection seat.
Yeah,
And we've had that question pop
Okay.
up in the past.
Thank
too,
you.
so.
Yeah.
right.
Thank
So
you.
it would be
That's-
embedded in the detail that's attached in back of that requisition.
Thank-
Any other questions from council? All right, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Excuse, there was a motion
Oh.
by Councilmember Noriega.
Yes.
There was a second by Councilmember Campbell.
Yes.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Trying to confuse me.
No, I know, we're trying to get through this, so. Next item is item 4, regular business, discussion potential action to approve first reading of ordinance number 2015 ordinance of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, amending a no parking zone.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members, Yasmin Arellano, Public Works Director. Good evening. The Brawley Elementary School District staff brought forward a concern that the designated no parking zone along the south curb on A Street, across the street from Field Swing Elementary School, was too lengthy and prevented school visitors from parking in close proximity to school. The engineering department reviewed the defined location and history of the Brawley Municipal Code as it pertains to the area, and found out that the original length of the no parking zone was requested by the elementary school district to allow for wider maneuvering area of the school buses when they had the student loading and unloading zone along A Street. Since then, the loading and unloading zone for bus stops has been relocated to River Drive. Presently, the no parking zone includes a goal line stop, and staff's recommendation is to decrease the length of the no parking zone to accommodate the parking of additional vehicles along the southern curb of A Street while having a safe maneuvering area for the goal line stop.
Very well. Are there any questions from council on this item?
Jasmine, so how have things been since we've made that modification for them using River? Things working out okay?
I think they're working out okay, and we haven't made the modification on decreasing the length of the no parking zone. We're scheduled to do that during the Thanksgiving break in order not to inconvenience the parents.
It's playing better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there any
Good
other
idea.
questions from council?
Nope.
I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second to that motion. I believe Councilmember Couchman. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is regular business 4B, discussion potential action to approve City Council Resolution Number 2015-, resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, amending the fiscal year 2015-2016 City of Brawley budget for wastewater in the amount of $359,564.50, and award a contract to Sanken Engineering, Inc. for project number 2015-02, sewer manhole rehabilitation in the amount of $1,396,000, $1,396,010.
The City of Brawley received a community development block grant in the amount of $1.5 million to rehabilitate existing sewer manholes throughout the city. This grant provides for approximately $1.25 million in construction activities. On October 13th, the City of Brawley received 2 construction bids, with the lowest bidder being Sancon Engineering in the amount of approximately $1.4 million. The lowest bid reflects a construction shortfall together with a 15% contingency of approximately $360,000. This shortfall is proposed to be bridged with unprogrammed wastewater enterprise fund balance. Should the city adopt the proposed water and wastewater rate structure on the upcoming meeting on November 17th, a request to perform additional work within the same scope will be brought back to council for your consideration.
Are there any questions from council on this item?
Yeah, Jasmine, if I may, how many companies responded to the bid?
2.
There was only 2 that responded.
Yes, sir.
Any additional questions from council?
However, the lowest bidder is utilizing local subcontractors.
Yeah. I know a lot of times, different companies will respond, but they're rejected for certain reasons, so that was my question. So there was no other companies that responded that were rejected?
No,
These
no,
are the
sir.
only 2 companies that responded?
Yes, sir.
If, my only question is, obviously, we're making a little bit of an assumption at the next meeting. If for whatever the reason, we're not successful in moving forward with a water rate or wastewater increase, that additional funding, that funding gap would still come from the wastewater enterprise fund, correct?
May I offer a little bit of additional information that might be helpful to clarify? So the current award of funds is short the amount of the base bid. So what we're first proposing is to bridge that difference with fund balance from the existing wastewater enterprise fund. In addition to that, should the rate study be approved, because of the way we structured the scope of work with additives, we'd have the chance to piggyback on the same design project and add additional manholes. So if the water and sewer rate study were approved, we'd have another $150,000. That's the proposed programmed capital project. We wouldn't have to go out to bid and define a narrow scope. Instead, we could piggyback on the pricing. So we would have to we can't do that without your action on the rate study, and then a budget adjustment would come to you first before we authorize the contractor to do it. So it would be an expanded scope of work off of the base bid.
Very good. Thank you.
Totally understand.
Any other questions on this item? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a
Second.
second? There's a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you. Next item is item 4C, discussion potential action to authorize agreement with HDR Engineering, Inc. in the amount of $21,700 to provide professional engineering services for the preparation of the City of Brawley local limits study update.
Yes, the city of Brawley the wastewater treatment plant is designed to treat conventional pollutants, basically conventional wastewater that is typically discharged from residences and commercial establishments. The city's sewer use ordinance limits the amounts of pollutants that can be discharged by significant industrial users, and a significant industrial user is defined as a user discharging over 25,000 gallons per day. The existing ordinance contains local limits that were approved in 2014 that are concentration-based. In other words, measured in milligrams per liter. So the larger the volume discharged, the lighter, the higher the amount of pollutants discharged. Since the city's approval of the local limits in 2014, the city's largest significant industrial user is no longer discharging, and now we have permitted a new significant industrial user who's Pioneers Memorial Hospital District. Pioneer's effluent volume is smaller, however, it's higher in concentration. However, the pollutants being discharged by Pioneers are the typical pollutants found in sanitary sewer, so calling conventional pollutants. Other jurisdictions have established local limits and mass base in pounds, which are easier to manage. And HDR is submitting a proposal to provide an update to the local limits, and this update will include these limits and would also identify will assign concentrations to a particular significant industrial user, while also identifying treatment capacity for future use.
Very well.
Okay, I guess questions.
Yes, sir.
I guess I have some questions. How do other areas or how do other cities or municipalities handle hospital discharge into sewer systems? And is ours any different than theirs? I mean, how does El Centro handle theirs? do they define them as an industrial user, or do they have a different definition? I guess that's kind of my question. I don't know whether, do all cities define hospitals as industrial users, or do they give them a different designation by virtue of there being a hospital? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I'm just asking the question. You may not know the answer either.
I do not know, but we can certainly get that information.
Would you get that? I mean, I
Yes.
think that's important. Whether we did the study or not, I think that's important to know. Is this supposed to help us with future
Compliance
industrial
issues, yes.
users that may come on board, which we may have in the future, such as One World Beef or any other future industrial user?
Good question.
It does aim to be of assistance. The problem is because of the proportion of the values that were established in the original, they were of such large numbers that it is nearly impossible to apply that same set of circumstances to the type of discharger that the hospital
Hospitals,
is.
right.
So we're converting it to a different format so it can be administered in a manner that's fair and equitable.
But in converting it, we also want to make sure, though, that we don't run into some of the same problems that we had with the previous user in terms of industrial use, which is a little bit of a different type of discharge than, say, what the hospital is doing.
Right.
So we want to make that clear, and I don't know if this is if the $21,000 that we're going to spend is going to make that clear designation, and we'll have that as a separate designation rather than industrial user. Will it be the hospital as a health facility user versus the industrial, such as a beef plant or whatever you want to call that? I'm hoping that distinction will be made, and that's why I'm asking the question.
Yes, it will be made, and it's going to assign pounds. It's going to be mass-based, it's going to be assigning,
Okay.
based on the existing discharge parameters by Pioneers Memorial. That's how, and treatment capacity, that's how it's going to be assigned, the number of pounds.
But then that can be applied to a user like a new plant operator, is that correct?
That is
Yes,
correct.
right, okay.
And
I think that
will-
was the question, right?
Right,
So-
I mean, that's the gist of it. I just want to make sure that when we're doing this and we're spending this 21,000, this is going to give us answers so that for the future, we'll be prepared for those kinds of things, and that we can, bring enforcement to bear a little bit quicker, or if we have issues with it, we'll know exactly what we're doing, so we don't get into any trouble with the state water board or any of those types of things. I'm not going to say that's not going to happen, but it's something that we need to, if this is going to help us, then I'm in favor of this, but I kind of want to know the parameters of what it's going to do.
So the goal is to make the form of the ordinance more appropriate for the type of user that is not the high-volume
Yeah.
beef plant producer that National Beef was.
That's what I got.
Because that isn't a fit for the other classes of industrial users, which we only have one that meets the criteria for.
Right,
The goal isn't to carve out for that so that we make it difficult for the others, it's that so we can find a fit for the nature of the non-heavy industrial user.
Right, I don't want to make it difficult for heavy industrial, and I don't want to pick on beef plants either. I just want to say that if there is industrial in the future, then we have to look at that based upon the criteria of the waste stream that they're going to produce, which may be different than what we would normally see from hospitals or residential or something else. I just want to make sure that we have that clear and that there's
And the
a scale of that
flexibility,
and some flexibility built into that so that we're able to handle that. But other than that, I don't have really any questions. And I think you could probably do some research. And I would like to see, even with this study, what are other areas doing? And maybe the study will bring that up, but just ensure that maybe they do or that we do and know where we're at with that.
Valid points. Any other questions or comments? Did you have any other additional comments you wanted to make, Yasmin?
No, just the additional comment that the goal of this study is also to find out actually set a treatment capacity reservation for future use, because at this point, we just have so many milligrams per liter that can be discharged into our system. And that was designed based on what the treatment capacity of the wastewater plant can take. But it was never set aside to plan for future conventional waste. So in this case, there's going to be a treatment capacity reservation for future, as well as calculating based on the information provided under a discharge permit, the number of pounds of loadings, BOD, ammonia, and total suspended solids that they will be discharging.
What did we do before with Pioneers?
They didn't have a discharge permit.
Okay, so if you back up to prior to National Beef's closure, we transitioned the city from, the form of our sewer ordinance was such that it did not have a highly defined
For
pre-treatment
limits.
component. And when we implemented the pre-treatment ordinance, that's where this whole industrial discharge permit format was introduced. And we were required
It was a
to
requirement, yeah.
create that subset by the Regional Water Quality Control Board. And there are certain attributes of types of users that make them like the norm of a residential toilet flush. The difference between that, they're distinguished between that kind of a use and anything that's heavy industrial. So the hospital actually meets the criteria similar to the beef plant, that it is the only other industrial user in our city limits. They're the only two permits that were identified as part of the local limits process.
And that's where I want to just comment. I laud the staff, obviously. I know there was some time spent with administration, I believe, with Pioneers Memorial Hospital and their facilities folks to get this to the point we're at so we can move forward. The other thing, I think it signals also, as we've discussed many times, issues with regional water, that we're fortifying our local limits studies and parameters. So big positive step in the right direction, and I think it's very important. Obviously, we are one of the few cities that play host to a hospital, so.
Sure. There was another question, I believe, by Councilmember
The only
Campbell.
question I had was, having the relationship with Lee and Rowe, could we have utilized them to save some of the dollars as far as the charge we're doing
Good question.
the work?
Well, staff requested quotes from Lee and Rowe and from HDR, and actually, HDR was approximately $4,000 cheaper than Lee and Rowe.
And the lead engineer that was formerly with Lee and Rowe is now with HDR. Just so you're aware. Dave Bachtel, the person who participated in all of our pretreatment ordinance development, as well as the wastewater treatment plant modernization, he is now with HDR.
But they came in with a bid, and it was a bid process, so I mean, I think we have.
Well, it's professional services, so we're not
Professional services
obligated to take the
request,
lowest bid, but in this instance, it was the lowest bid.
Very well. Any other questions from council? Is there a motion to approve? I make a motion. Is there a second? All those in favor? Any questions from council? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is regular business 4D, discussion potential action to alter city council meeting time on November 17th to 5 PM for closed session. I think this was at the request of our city manager.
And this was requested only because the rate study is scheduled for the 17th at 6 PM at the Lions Center. I know we do have some closed session items that we would like to bring to the council, and because it may go late into the evening, similar to the former hearing when it was held, the thought was that we could brief you an hour in advance on closed session items and then go into open session at 6.
And where,
Go ahead, I'm sorry. Go
I was
ahead.
just, I think probably
Ask
the
the
same
que- yes.
question. And where are we going to meet for the closed session?
We could meet in any number of the breakout spaces at Lions Center. It could either be in the
paddle
Parks and
room,
Rec
paddle
rear or where the veterans.
But you'll let us know ahead of time.
That'll work. I was wondering where we were gonna meet.
Yeah.
Is there any concern with the time change to 5 PM? Is there a motion to approve the 5 PM meeting change for November 17th?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion by council? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And now we're off to number 5, departmental reports. All right. So the next item is departmental reports. 5A, monthly staffing report for October 2015 by Shirley Bonias, our Personnel and Risk Management Administrator.
On page 77, please find the report. We are continuing with the police officer interviews just to create an eligibility list. Yay, we're fully filled in that positions. Public Works, utility worker 2, just an update. We are going to reopen that position. It does require a water distribution certification, number 2. So we're going to reopen, and it's going to be open till filled. And I did not get the in-house recruitment for utility lead man open prior to this meeting, but that is on my schedule for this week. Would be happy to answer any questions council may have.
Thank you for the update. Are there any questions from council?
Nope, good job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sean.
Next item on the agenda is informational report, and it's a record of building permits for September 2015. And it was prepared by Francisco Soto, our building official. He's not present,
He's
but
out sick today, and if you have any questions on the building permits, we're certainly happy to answer them. They're simply submitted as information items.
Looks
very
busy.
well, looks busy, right?
Very
So,
busy.
Looks very busy.
Very good.
That's
Lots
a
of
lot
solar.
stuff. Lot
I
of
was gonna
stuff
say,
going on, a lot of solar.
A lot of new home development,
assuming
and
that's
actually,
rooftop.
the items are about 1, 2, 3, 4,
Interesting.
I don't know, about $700,000 worth of improvements. It's nice. Very well. Thank you for that information. And the next item is city council member reports. Councilmember Noriega?
Okay. Went to the high school, myself and Sam, gave a little speech to the students, more or less of, they wanted to know how we got to be politicians, and gave a little background of our growing up and how we got to be there. We talked about voting, how important it was for them to go out and vote, whether it be them or their families, and any student that was 18 years or older. They had lots of questions. It was so nice. They're very appreciative for us to be there. They're being taught very, very diligently to ask any question and every question. And I also had the opportunity to, I asked if I could take Katie Santillan, and I swear, I think she was probably did better than we did, because all the kids wanted, she says, and if you guys need a job, or, you want to learn how to work here, well, so she did. She got a few kids to give her the names and addresses and phone numbers, so that, and she called up, I think, 3 of them for some function that she had, and they put in their time, and I'm not sure how much they got paid, but she was overwhelmed with kids, and she's got dear to her heart, because she talked to them about her daughter being run over and how it happened, and and how students and children are so important in her life, and that she's willing to help any and all of them. So it was really nice. They were great. Went to the dedication of the new gym in honor of Donald Weber, and that was very nice. We got to get 2 dedications. One was in the new gym, and then we went to the older gym, and they had a plaque that they had for I don't know how many years, and so it was very nice. There was only a handful of people, but that's because he only invited a handful of people, so felt special. And then we got to go to the league dinner at Asagio's. The food was great. The dessert was great. I had 2 desserts. I cheated. And then had a meeting at the Veterans Memorial because of our November 11th ceremony that we're going to have. And we invited the mariachis to come at the very end and play one song, and as they play, they can march back to the kiosk. So we thought that was just perfect. So that's our plan. Also, had a meeting at Parks and Recreation yesterday about the air conditioning. We talked to Mr. Cortez. Don and I were present for that. And he said he'd be happy with whatever we put in. If we want, he'd probably at this time, we don't need to put anything in until March, I believe. And we're going with swamp coolers, and so that because of the air conditioning, it's going to be too tough on the kids, for them to be running around, coming back, being sweaty, and we don't want them sick. But we do want some kind of air circulation in the rest, in the boxing ring. Also, got invited to go to the Blue Knights of California poker run. It was so nice. It was funny because I was looking at my calendar and I was laying down in bed and we were watching TV, and Wilma was with me, and we were talking and stuff, and I said, yeah, oh gosh, I got to go to the poker run. I said, oh my God, they're all men, let's go. So we went, And I introduced myself to all of them. I stood at the door for a while and welcomed them to Brawley, and got to even go up and thank them on part of our council and the mayor on behalf of our city. And they were really overwhelmed. They said they've never had that kind of welcoming. So I also told them the next time they come, and there will be the last poker run they have, that for them not to stay in El Centro because we've got better motels and probably cheaper. So they all laughed and they said they will look us up the next time, so you'll be getting some phone calls from them. Then got to go to the American Legion in El Centro, where they had a celebration for one of their members. She turned 85, Carol Rodriguez, so got to do that. And then we met, Don and I again met with Rosanna, with Steve Vasquez out on 9th Street, where all these horrible bushes are, they're growing huge now. And we have the homeless going in there and different kinds of people in there. So we're talking now with the railroad. We have been for quite some time, but hopefully within a couple of months, we get something getting those bushes, because of the children that are right next to the park. They have a tendency to kind of scare the kids. So it's kind of for safety reasons, we really need to cut those bushes out. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you for that report. Councilmember Couchman.
Yes, I did the mega mixer at Hart Insurance. I was able to attend that. I did go to the Brawley Union High School civics class on their kind invitation, and we did talk, and I think Helen's kind of filled you in on what we talked about there. I'm happy to do that. As a BUHS graduate, I like going back to the school and providing information for them and services for the kids and stuff of that nature. I did the chamber board meeting with Jason and the chamber board. We discussed cattle call primarily. I think that was the bigger issue, and a lot of different things going on. There are some questions about the downtown merchants fund that they utilize, and so we'll probably be bringing that back to the city for some clarification, and maybe doing away with that fund and seeing what we need to do with it. But there's talk at the chamber board about that. I attended the league dinner. Well done at the Saggio's. That was a nice dinner. And I also attended a Rotary Fall Festival, which we had here in town. And so that was nice also. We did that at Robert Trim's house, so the local Rotary. I went as the representative of the Imperial Valley Regional Occupational Program Community Foundation to Brawley Union High School and presented a $500 check to the Health Occupations Students Association there at the high school, and that was a neat thing to do for them. And they're all studying to be nurses and doctors and other field within the medical field, other jobs within the medical field. It's a good group. I attended the county supervisors meeting today. They were discussing a tower for the Christian radio station in El Centro, and they actually approved the tower over the objections of their planning commission. So it was a very interesting meeting. They had a full house, standing room only. They had to exit some of those people out. KGBA, yes.
100.1, baby.
Yes. I also took a picture with a cross-country bike rider here in Brawley that had the balloons set up in the park over there. Lloyd was kind enough to come out and take a picture, and we went over there, and it was a tribute to breast cancer and a tribute to cancer survivors. And the gentlemen take a cross-country bike tour. I guess he goes across the country every now and then.
Stephen Swift.
Yes, Stephen Swift, and he had talked about, what he wanted to do with all that, and that was a gift to the city of Brawley. So I thought that was very nice of him, and we did take those pictures. And with that, other than cattle calls coming, I think we're ready for that. I think, or Lisa's ready, and it seems like the events are growing. So I don't know if that's my imagination or because I'm getting older, but it seems like the events are getting to be more, we seem to be having more and more events. We have the art walk on Friday.
Yep.
We have a lot of other things going on. So I just think that we are having some more events.
That's
So,
a good thing. That's why I
It's
asked
probably a
Jay.
good thing, but it does make for.
I asked Jay, are you guys okay? He said, yeah.
Yeah, but he's not. He's not. But it's all right. Okay, but that's all I have to report.
Yep.
Thank
I
you.
forgot one thing. I would like to wish all three of you, Don, Donnie, and George, the best of luck tonight on your campaign, and wish you guys, hope you win.
Thank you. Councilmember Campbell.
La Gente, we did meet with them, and I think their main concern is that if we could just help with their operation as a whole. We did talk about climate control. They wasn't really stressing air conditioning, but just some type of movement air in there for the kids, to, especially in the summertime when it's really, really hot. So I think we should be able to help with that. I participated in the junior high school gym for Mr. Weber, the league dinner, the mega mixer, and all that's been fine. And this has been this last month or so, it's been kind of long. So, but I took my wife to Brawley this morning for breakfast pretty early, and I walked in there, and this gentleman walked up to me, and he says, "Donna," he said, "I have one question for you." And I said, "Okay, let's go. What is it?" He says, "Why?"
Why?
Why? Why? And I said, "Well, doing the people's work is what it's about." So
That's right.
I do. I wish all the candidates well, and everybody the best of luck. And I just ask that God continue to bless you guys and your families, and we can take care of our city and the folks that live in our city. So thank you.
Thank you for that update. And we'll move on to our Mayor Pro Tem. Mr.
Thank
Bradley.
you, Mr. Mayor, and a little bit of a repeat of where most of our council has been, so I'll just kind of run down the quick list. Obviously, the Joint Chambers Mixer at Hard Insurance, which had a fantastic turnout. It was almost like a street fair. It was pretty neat, and I know it's similar to years past, but also attended the Rotary, I call it the Fall Social, but I know it was more of a formal, and our city manager was there too. I kind of snuck in a little bit late because of the Joint Chambers Mixer at Hard Insurance. So, also the Las Chavelas, we had an honoring of our local and community volunteers really throughout the valley with Assemblymember Garcia. It was very nice. Also honored Mr. Donald Weber as well at the new gymnasium, both honoring and kind of plaque unveilings. It's just great to hear from being a transplant myself, but hearing the stories from a lot of our, whether our elected officials go up or family members talk about Mr. Weber sort of back in the day. I mean, including, I guess, he walked to school or walked to work, which is pretty neat. So outside of that, I did attend our league dinner, which was fantastic, as always, where we can get together, but certainly where we can play host. So it was great to have it at our new relocated Asagio's location. I hope more to come there and keep our businesses and keep supporting these wonderful eateries that we're starting to get known for, right, here in Brawley. But I did run out this weekend to the Polaris Camp Razor, something I've kind of been a part of, both in a professional capacity, but I can't help but to highlight the fact that Camp Razor, and I don't want to steal all the thunder because I was I think our mayor was equally impressed going out there, and I really would like all of our council members, which I'm going to really aggressively invite as more events come up this season. So that's not the only. Halloween's usually the kickoff. But that event will attract somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20,000 visitors just to that Camp Razor event. Obviously, we have many local folks that like to go out there, but there are many from out of town which come right through Brawley, and it would be neat to see what the economic impact would be. But I can tell you our hotels, our restaurants, our stores, both retail as well as our grocery stores, definitely look forward to that impact. I think very similar to kind of dove season where we get excited about the dove hunters coming down. So again, with all that said, it's been a heck of a season. I know the elephant in the room is tonight's election night, so I do want to thank my fellow council members. I know we've all been out there running our individual campaigns, but to all of those that are seeking election tonight, as we all say, it takes a special citizen that's willing to take the step, go out there, put themselves out there, and I always have a great amount of respect for those who do that. So again, wish everyone the best of luck, and I in particular would like to extend that luck and well wishes to my fellow council members here.
Very well, thank you for that update. And I have a long list, and I'm going to try to keep it relatively short. Today, I attended a tree planting ceremony for the Escalera family, and it's in commemoration of their 40-year family reunion here. And so they planted an olive tree, a non-fruit-bearing olive tree at Hinojosa Park, and I want to thank the Parks and Rec staff for doing a great job out there and providing the resources and manpower to be able to do that. So beautiful addition to our park, and congratulations to the Escalera family. Also participated at BUHS and speaking to the students. Thank you very much for inviting us. We appreciate it very much. Great questions, and it was a great experience to be out there with them and chatting amongst those civic students, and they're doing a good job. So also participated and attended the league dinner here in Brawley, and I'm glad to see that it took place over at Asagio's. So that's a Brawley business that I think benefited. Also went to the ICTC Transportation Commission meeting, and I would like to make a quick announcement on that. And let me just make sure that I have it. On November 9th, 10th, 12th, and 13th, to commemorate Veterans Day, Imperial Valley Transit invites all prior or current military personnel to use any of the IV transit services free of charge. IVT will not operate on Wednesday, November 11th in observance of Veterans Day. So they can use the system for free on the 9th, 10th, and the 12th, and the 13th. So that's just a piece of information I wanted to put out there. So another item that I also spoke to a group of students at Westmoreland Elementary School, interesting group. 10, 11, and 12-year-old kids. Their after-school program, spoke to them, had a lot of great questions and a nice experience with them. The Film Commission met, and we also had our film festival that was successful just a few days back, and that was a nice benefit to our community. Also attended the Mega Mixer, and we met briefly with Mr. Stephen Swift, that is traveling the country on his bicycle, and is promoting and spreading the good word on breast cancer awareness and all those positive things. I would like to also just mention that Motel 6, I wanted to pay them just special recognition in that Mr. Stephen Swift, he generally will stay at a campground, or he'll sleep in a tent or with friends along his route. This night, he didn't have a place to stay. He was going to travel to Westmoreland at night, and I called my friends over at Motel 6. They were able to house him for the night and give him a bed to sleep in and a shower and all that sort of stuff. So special thanks to Motel 6 in Brawley for doing that. And to Mr. Stephen Swift, he did a lot of work out here at the plaza, and it was a pleasure meeting him as well. And of course, Camp Razor, I should mention this, and Camp Razor does bring in about 15 to 20,000 people, but and we've talked about it, Mayor Pro Tem Wharton and I, about further partnering with Polaris and Camp Razor to make sure that we benefit here locally. Las Chavelas and the Courtroom restaurants were able to provide 135 meals 2 times a day for 7 days out there for their work crews. So that's a very significant catering service that they provided, and it benefits obviously the restaurants locally, but it really showcases what we do here locally. And I'll tell you, we were standing right outside the catering tent, and a gentleman comes out. He's from Georgia, and he said, "Hey, are you guys with the catering company?" I said, "Yeah, I was next to my friend Abraham." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Let me tell you, the food was the best." And he said, I thought it was multiple caterers because one day you had tri-tip, the other day you had Mexican food, the other day you had this and that. I said, no, it's really the same people making a variety of food, and he complimented us on that. And he came from Georgia. He was doing the sound and lighting at the stage there for Camp Razor, but it just made me very proud to hear people make those comments and compliment our local services. So there's a lot.
Wipe Vons out of water.
That's right, and they mentioned that they wipe Vons out of water and ice and other things. So that's always a positive thing in the sense that it helps our local community. And of course, there were other things. I also got to speak with a local, he's not a local, but he's a real estate project manager and broker. And they're in the process of rehabilitating some buildings in downtown Brawley. And he informed me that his investors have also made a decision to purchase 2 additional buildings in downtown Brawley. So they're going to hopefully be rehabbing those properties as well. And I think there's a lot of good momentum right now. I'm happy to see it, and that's my report. But before we move on to the city manager's report, I'd like to invite our chairman, county chairman, Mr. Ryan Kelly, if you could come up and make some comments.
Yeah.
First of all, Ryan Kelly, 448 Russell Road. I want to extend a hearty good night to all the candidates, except for Alma, because you have no...
Nothing to worry about? Yeah. So no good night for you.
Yeah. She's sweating.
Good luck to you all.
Thank you.
Running solo.
I would like to let you know that today the county board got to look at the display that will go into the state capitol. Mr. Couchman got to see it, and it is very impressive. And still working to make sure that it gets there.
It still hasn't got up there.
Yeah, and it didn't leave yet, but they did take it apart, so
Well, that's good.
we'll see about the van. And I've still got Sedalia on hold.
Okay.
Also, we took action on the county flag, so that announcement will be coming out and to be spread to all the school districts for the county flag competition. All grades will be, there'll be awards for first, second, third in all grade levels, and there's also adult competition, so anybody, the only requirement is that you have to be a county resident to participate. And you can do it as a group or as an individual.
Do you have flyers for those?
Yeah, it will be coming out, and we will need assistance on promoting that. We had, and I mentioned this at the League of Cities, that we've had our road show, and we went to El Centro a week ago, and we had, I think, 4 people from the public show up. So we're learning on getting the word out.
Okay.
And so any assistance you can give us, that would be appreciative. But we will have a public information officer November 16th. And hopefully that will change the way that we communicate inside and outside of the county. And I know that the mayor wanted to mention it, but Highway 86.
There you go, that's right.
Yeah, and the signalization at Hoveley Road is very significant, and Caltrans has made that commitment to have it done by the end of the year.
Thank you for that
That's all I have.
as well. Thank you very much, Chairman Kelly.
you,
I
Ryan.
appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
There is one other item, and I was just reminded by our chief who just arrived. I should mention that the Kiwanis kiosk has been renovated over the past several months, and it looks fantastic. And so recently, we had not just Chief Crankshaw, but other city volunteers. Kiwanis organization donated the materials, and the city of Brawley provided the volunteer manpower. And so if you get a chance, there's going to be a ceremony on Monday at 4 p.m. out there, and it's just reintroducing the kiosk to the community. And so it's also a good time to recognize the people that helped put the work into it. And if you haven't seen it, it looks beautiful. It really is an impressive kiosk with the tiles, and it's a great job. So big round of applause, not just for our chief, but for all the volunteers that put. Thank you. And next is our city manager's report.
Wanted to share that tomorrow we do have a Main Street closure planned on the plaza, and it's to do refresh and rehabilitation work on the median, as well as address some maintenance topics involving our crosswalk, and just a nice refresh in advance of chili cook-off. So we asked for the public's patience as we have this temporary closure on the plaza. We are coordinating with the post office regarding that closure that'll begin in the morning and will end sometime in the evening when the paint dries.
So it's from, I'm sorry, so it's from,
Plaza to plaza,
Okay,
basically,
all
just
right.
the center of the diamond.
okay, thank you.
And then wanted to also report that tomorrow we'll be acquiring 40 new strands of white lights and continuing our effort to light up the plaza for the holiday season. And look forward to that project taking on some new dimensions this year. And finally, want to wish the 3 candidates seated here the best of luck tonight, and hoping for the outcomes you all wish for. So,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is our treasurer's report, but our treasurer is not here, so we'll move on to our city attorney's report.
Thank you. We have been very busy working with developers who have issues, and that's been it for the last couple of weeks, is developers with issues, and I do wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you very much. Next is our city clerk's report.
Also wishing you best of luck. to
Thank
three.
you. And we wish you the best of
Oh,
luck as
that's
well.
We can start partying at my house.
Okay. And again, I just want to thank you all very much. And if you haven't voted, please go out and vote. So thank you all very much, and we'll go into closed session in 3 minutes. Thank you.
The polls